seconds on Oakland, LA, Oakland, Vegas, Raider Nation, wherever, forever. You got your old Uncle Mosh and Raiders Fan Radio from Murf's Man Cave, taking a lighter journey into the dark side. Sit back, put your feet up, pop a top, and enjoy the ride. Here we go!
Look left, look right, Bolitnikov, a leaking pass, touchdown!
We miss you, we love you, and we'll see you in the Hall of Fame.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.
Way up the middle, intercepted Filipiano at the 50, time running down. Oakland football, and I think Oakland victory.
The Oakland Raiders have scored on the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play. Well, I love this team. I think this team can win. I think this team can win.
All right, what is up, Raider Nation? Thank you for joining us here on another what we hope to be fantastic episode of Raiders Fan Radio, episode number 103 here in Murf's Fan Cave. Appreciate everybody jumping in on the YouTubes. Gosh, Uncle Mosh, the chat room is blown up already. I can't scroll up, but just to read a few names off of there: Joe Buriso, Juan Espana, Oni, Salvador, Raider Homer, Charles Adams, New Life Bully, of course, Ron, Robert, Chevy Raider. Did I say that one yet? Sam Acosta. Man, thank you.
They're all here.
Everybody's in there.
here.
And thank you guys so much for joining us in the chat room.
Sure.
We appreciate you joining us for episode number 103 of Raiders Fan Radio. And so, we don't do this show, or we wouldn't do it alone. Well, we don't do it alone because we have you. I don't do it alone because sitting next to me, to my right, at the southern annex of the Raiders Fan Radio Murph's Fan Cave desk is the one and only Uncle Mosh. Uncle Mosh, welcome to the show.
Wow, somebody has had just a little bit too much coffee, and I don't drink it after 10 a.m.
I had coffee and a nap today, Uncle Mosh. I had like one of those 12-minute power naps. It was glorious.
Yeah. You don't even dream in those things. You just go right to sweating and drooling.
I did.
Yeah.
Sweat and drool. Absolutely. Sweating and drooling. So it was a good nap. So anyways, thank you, Uncle Mosh, for joining us here on Raiders Fan Radio. For those of you that are joining us on the YouTube, I don't know if you realize this or not. I hope you can see that the two faces that were made for radio, the two faces that were made for audio-only podcasting, are now coming to you in glorious HD. Uncle Mosh, we're feeling our way through this whole live stream thing, and we're learning about how to broadcast effectively and in high quality. Even though we're a couple of amateurs, we want to put forth the most professional product available to us.
You know what cracks me up?
Tell me what cracks you up.
I look at what we do a lot like what I do in my real life. Okay, so our longtime listeners know that I'm a teacher by trade, and I feel like the education system is over-testing kids. I mean, they're just like, it's every time you turn around, and a lot of our fans have kids in school, and so they know what I'm talking about with the CAP testing and the SAT and the pre-SAT and the ACT, and there's just testing all the time.
Testing.
It's just test. And so we, who are trying to build a better product, might be getting sucked into that. Because we're reading like, we gotta catch them in the first 8 seconds.
Yes.
So we tried to do 8 seconds. Great earlier.
Yes.
We did it 5 times.
That's
40 seconds.
That's 40 seconds.
We messed that all up.
That was an amazing 40 seconds so much.
But we keep reading all this stuff. We're like, we got to do an HD, and we got to do this, and we got to do that. And we read all this stuff, and we're just a couple of guys.
Just like the Raiders, man.
We support a team that don't win, but we don't care. We got people like all those guys that are already in the chat that are like, we're with you, bro. You know?
Yeah.
Because they like our team that don't win also.
But hey, that's how you know you're a fan, though, when you root for the team that doesn't win, right?
And we're going we're buying little plugs and we're getting connectors and we're going HD and DD and BB and CC and whatever else.
You know all those technical
letters,
terms.
Man.
You got it.
And we're doing but our teams still don't win.
We
don't care.
They don't care. We're here. We're going to celebrate and love the Raiders regardless of their performance on the field. It doesn't matter because Raider Nation, and we're going to hear from some of our callers later today. I forget which one of them said it, but it might have been Emiliano. But Raider Nation is family. Like for us, in terms literally and figuratively, in terms of fandom, and again, you don't all hop into a chat room and watch an internet television show about a team that you don't love, and it's so we can do this all together and have fun with it, and the field, the play on the field doesn't change that. No, don't get me wrong. It sure is nice when the team wins.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? And obviously we all want them to win, but it's not the end of the world if they don't. We can still have fun with our fandom.
And just like you said, you and I are related by red blood. The rest of us are related by silver and black blood.
Oh, my gosh, that was good. That was good, Mosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, I'm going to write that one down.
Yeah, write that one down. Yeah,
I'll be back in a minute. I'm writing.
You go right, and I'll give the rundown of the show. So, pretty simple today on Raiders Fan Radio. What's up, Q-Dog? See him jump in there. See Zeke jump in there. Lots and lots of names. Thank you guys again. So, real simple rundown today for Raiders Fan Radio. This is episode number 103, so we're going to celebrate the fact that it's episode number 103. We are going to cover just a real quick couple of respects there. Then we're going to move on to what we're going to celebrate with the number of 103. We're going to get into the big story of the week, is what came from Mark Davis and the article that was written by Paul Gutierrez for ESPN.com.
Good article too, buddy.
Phenomenal.
There's not a lot of good articles that come out of that group, but that one was great.
That was a good one, on point. And so we're gonna dig into that. Then we're gonna go all see a fans, man. We got a bunch of mails. We got a bunch of voicemails this week, and so we want to definitely listen to all of those. And we want to celebrate you all and really appreciate you for supporting our show and calling in and being part of what we do. And then that's
the bunch of males. Yeah, that's it. That other Bay Area team. Not that there's anything wrong with
Not that there's anything wrong with Thunder Down Under or whatever they're doing over there. Yeah. Okay. Did your brother open for Thunder Down Under?
Oh my God, yes.
Uncle Mosh is my other uncle. He is a stand-up comedian, and he opened for one of those male review shows
in Las Vegas.
Yeah, how funny! And I won't take a shot at it. I almost was going to say, and out of the two of you, one of you is a comedian, but only one of you is funny, and I get to do a show with the funny one every week. But I wouldn't say that to him because that would be mean to say that about him.
No, we wouldn't say it on the air.
We certainly wouldn't say that about him.
Hey, he doesn't watch our show. He's a donkey fan.
He is a donkey fan. That's true. So we can pick on him fairly, huh?
Yeah.
All right. I'm so glad I got the funny uncle. All right. So anyway, let's go ahead and get to it. So thanks again for joining us on 103. So Uncle Mosh, I want to give some respect. We don't do props. We don't do shout outs. We give respect.
All right. Respect's due.
Respect is due. And I want to respect a couple of guys this week. Number one, I want to respect Randy Hanson. Randy Hanson, for those of you I'm sure are familiar, the longtime Raider fans, Randy Hanson was a former assistant coach for the Raiders that had an altercation with then head coach Tom Cable, who is now our offensive line coach. Back then in 2009 or 8, 9, and 10, when these two were working together, at one point after Lane Kiffin was dismissed and Cable was the coach, they got into a fight. They got into a physical altercation. Randy had his jaw busted, and there was a whole bunch of arbitration and all this stuff that ensued. Well, Randy went silent after 10 years. And I'm going to save you all the stories because you can go listen to it for yourself. But Randy went silent after 10 years, and he's now getting ready to leave the country. He's getting ready to move to the Caribbean and spend the rest of his life there.
Retire.
He's going to retire. His days in football are done. He's not even that old. He's like in his early 50s. He's like barely 50. And 51, something like that. But anyways, but he's just, his days of wanting to get back in the league and all that, those are over.
Sure.
So he's kind of cashing out, and he's going to go live in the Caribbean the rest of his life. before he did, he wanted to get his story out there. And so he joined us here on Raiders Fan Radio for what I felt was going to be like a 30-minute kind of interview. Well, it turned into be almost 2 hours. And he went on in detail about numerous topics. And he was dropping some stuff on us, Mosh, that I didn't expect the conversation to go that way. I didn't expect him to have the kind of insight into these particular things that had happened throughout Raiders history. I found out the guy is not only is he a former Raiders head coach, he's a big-time fan of the team. Like, he's incredibly knowledgeable about the history. He was lack of a better term, a confidant of Al Davis at one point. Like, this guy was like in the organization. Like,
and what I love about it is that he chose us. We didn't seek out Randy. Randy contacted us through Mosh Washington on Facebook.
Yeah.
Was given to you with his contact info. And did the 2-hour interview, which we've broken up into 4 segments, but has followed up with us since.
Yes.
With constantly giving us more and more and more information. Not like, he already had cred with us, but he had such an awesome story to tell that he felt that a podcast was the only way that he could do that fairly. To get that across, something that he could take, some time and tell all the stories. And what stories they are, man. They're amazing.
Absolutely. They're fascinating. And, after the first 3, I had a couple of people reach out to me on social media and say, well, hey, Murf, what about this? And what about that? What about that? So I reached back out to Randy again. And I'm like, hey, let's get you back on for one more thing. I said, would you be willing to entertain some questions from some of our listeners? And so I hit him with like 3 more. So anyway, we did another, it was about a 45-minute thing, edited down. I think it's like 40 minutes or whatever. Anyways, go listen to it all. Thank you to Randy. We're going to give respect to Randy Hanson.
Absolutely.
For joining us on our show and getting all this out there. And if you're a fan of the team and if you want to know what it's like inside the walls of Alameda, especially during this time, which by far was the most dysfunctional time in the history of the organization, you're going to hear it all from Randy and everything. And here's the thing. Some of his stuff, I'm listening to it, and even hearing some of these things, and I'm like, gosh, that's kind of far-fetched, Not one single thing he told me in any of those interviews has been refuted. And in fact, it was a nice surprise. The last interview that we're doing, he's going on and on about a story that was written by Steve Corcoran, right? And about how he got put up by Lane and by Al in this situation, and he had to give this interview, and ultimately it led to him losing his job and all this kind of stuff. So I reached back here and I got the book right here. That book right there, Al Davis Behind the Raiders Shield, that's written by Steve Corcoran. Randy's in that book. And I go, well, Randy, here's the story. There's the way it's written in the book. Is this true? And he goes, I don't know. I said, well, let me read it to you. And I read it to him, and he goes, yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Wow.
So, the guy's, he's dead on. So anyways, it's fascinating stuff. Go listen to it. It's, I kind of did like a fun little, it's called the Randy Hanson tapes.
Oh, nice. An expose.
Falling down a dream. So Randy Hanson tapes. So I kind of had fun with that. So it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek when you hear the intro and stuff, but that's what it's called. Falling Down a Dream, the Randy Hanson tapes. It's on our YouTube. It's on all of our feeds. Go listen to it. You will enjoy it. I promise you. And so, that's all I got on Randy. Anything else you got on Randy, Mosh?
No, man. It's a great listen. It's a great listen.
Good. And
super guy. I'm glad he reached out to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those stories needed to be told.
Absolutely need to be told. So thank you. He sent me, one last thing. He sent me, I have the entire deposition given by Nnamdi Asomugha during the arbitration hearing. He sent me 88 pages I have the court documents. I have the freaking what do you call it when you send out a thing to have somebody arrested?
Oh, the warrant.
I have the warrant for Tom Cable's arrest on my phone right now. I'll show you. He sent me everything.
Wow.
It's bananas, and it's all true. Everything that he said all corroborates perfectly with all that's written in these documents. It's fascinating. Anyways, all right. So a little bit lighter of a note. I want to shout out. I should shout out. I want to give respect to running back of the Oakland Raiders, DeAndre Washington. Okay, and the reason that I want to give him respect is that he's in a competition right now with running back of the Kansas City Chiefs, Spencer Ware. there's this website out there called H2O. And look, go to our Facebook, and the link is on there. It's kind of a long name to the website, but basically it's his charity, DeAndre Washington's charity, and Spencer Ware's charity, and they're having a competition to see who can raise the most money.
Where it's one of those things where everybody wins.
Everybody wins.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Awesome.
And I'm pretty sure we're not going to beat the Chiefs on the field this year, so let's help DeAndre win.
Absolutely.
In this, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So I want to give him definite respect, and he had a message that went out on his Twitter, and I'm going to play that for you. So let's listen to Oakland Raiders running back DeAndre Washington.
Raider Nation, what up, dog? It's your man, DeAndre Washington, and I need y'all help this week. Look, I know things ain't been going the way we wanted to go on the field this season, unfortunately, but we still making things happen off the field and in the community. And this week I'm teaming up with H2O, Happiness to Others, and we got a little friendly competition going on with our little buddies out west, Kansas City Cheeseheads. So me, Spencer Ware, the Chiefs, we battling head to head with our foundation and see who can raise the most money for a great cause. My foundation, the DeAndre Washington Foundation, it all starts with the youth. We want to be able to make a positive impact in their lives, in the young men's lives, the young women's lives, give them a platform to not only showcase themselves, but use their God-given talent, teaching them the importance of being a pillar in the community, integrity, and teamsmanship, working together to achieve a common goal. Also, this week has been pretty catastrophic for the residents in California. Because of the wildfires and the catastrophic events that's been going on, I would like to donate a portion of the proceeds to the relief efforts, to the families, to the ones directly affected by the California wildfires. I'll also be matching the first 3K donations. No donation is too big, no donation is too small. Anything you can give, let's just spread the word, let's get it out, and let's make it happen. Also, check out the link below. Get some of the cool giveaways we're doing. Check those out. Let me know what you think. And let's go get this W. Let's get this win. Let's come out and show why we've been the best nation, the only nation, the Raider Nation. Let's make it happen. Love.
All right, here we go. DeAndre Washington in competition with Spencer Ware. So definitely go out there and support him. Look for the link on our Facebook. It's right there. Or just look at DeAndre Washington on Twitter.
There you go.
He's not hard to find. He's not hard to find, and let's support him and what he's doing. Okay, Uncle Mosh, a few comments in the chat room there. I'm wearing my salute to service hat, the Raiders beanie with the olive drab.
Nice.
And Q-Dog says that he likes the lid, but it looks like I'm going to go sell firewood door to door after the show.
Hey, how did he know what you do after the show?
Yeah, how'd you know I go sell firewood? No, but that was pretty funny.
Hey, Q-Dog, we don't trust him with a chainsaw, buddy.
Hey, I got one.
Yeah, I know.
No. All right, so Uncle Mosh, so you want to tell us a little bit about how folks can get in touch with our show, where they can find Raiders Fan Radio?
All right, so let's talk about stuff. So Apple Podcast, all you got to do, if you got a phone like Uncle Mosh, okay, an iPhone, and you don't have a grandkid that can set it up for you, it's pretty easy. Just go to Apple Podcast, right? It's the little purple dot. You click on that, and you type us in, and our stuff pops up. Subscribe to us. You get it automatically. You don't have to do nothing else. Now, something new for the Android. Tell us what's new on the Android.
Yeah, so the Android app, before this whole Murf Fan Cave thing, when we were Raiders Fan Radio, our app was called Raiders Fan Radio. Well, now it's been changed in the Google Play Store, so you can go to the Google Play Store. You can type in Murf's Fan Cave. That's Murf with an F, MURFS Fan Cave. And our app pops up.
Pops right, and you subscribe, and you get it automatically.
Automatically on your phone. You'll get a little icon on your phone. It's got our logo on there, and I think it still says RF Radio on there. But anyway, But just look for the Murf Fan Cave out there and download us, and you can always get our stuff and never miss an episode of this show, of Mondays with Mikey and Murf, and the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead Tom and Fitz.
Okay, and if they don't want to do it that way, they want to do through the YouTube, they can do the exact same thing with all the guys that are on the chat right now.
Yep.
Go to YouTube, type in Raiders Fan Radio.
Murf's Fan Cave.
Murf's Fan Cave, excuse me, and you'll get Raiders Fan Radio.
Correct.
And all that other stuff, Mondays with Mikey and Murf, Splatterhead and Fitz,
Yes.
You'll get, just subscribe on the YouTube. Join the other 1,077 subscribers.
Hey, man.
Nice.
How about that? How about that?
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're kind of a small deal.
We are.
But, so please do that. Please help support the Raiders Fan Radio. what do you call them? Outlets?
Yeah. No,
whatever.
I wouldn't call them outlets. That's where the wife goes to buy stuff.
Hey, now.
All right, boys and girls, pay attention. You got your old Uncle Mosh here with an update. That's right. I got some stuff for you. Take out a piece of paper, a pencil, a pen. Heck, use your pocket knife and carve the info into your dashboard as you're driving down the highway. First off, you need to like us on our fan page on Facebook. That's right. Go to Facebook at Raiders Fan Radio Podcast. Don't forget about the Twitter. You know your old Uncle Mosh, he twits now. That's right. Go to at Raiders Fan Radio. Also, don't forget the Instagram at Raiders Fan Radio. Or what about our website? That's right, RaidersFanRadio.com. Heck, if you want to, you can even email us, show at RaidersFanRadio.com, or call us on the Raiders Fan Radio hotline, 909-345-3346. That's 909-345-3346. Don't forget Murf's Fan Cave on the YouTube, where you can get all the show links like the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead and Fitz. Find all our stuff on podcast providers like Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play. All right, did I hit the time limit? Good.
All right, Uncle Mosh, you want to start off with a little bit of Raiders content?
We're 30 minutes into our introduction.
Well, because I just noticed on the chat room there, they're talking about what's going on with the team and our winning record, our record of what it is, and about how we might have a shot at the Cardinals this week. Well, the Cardinals have 2 wins, and so do a handful of other teams have 2 wins. The only team with 1 win is the Raiders, and the Raiders now stand alone with the NFL's worst record after the Giants beat the 49ers, and the number 1 overall pick as of today, Uncle Mosh, is ours. Congratulations to us, I think.
Wow.
How about that?
So I think it was Wyoming Raiders said it a few weeks ago. So we'll have 37 first-round picks.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, what week is this?
Well,
103?
Oh, yes. You mean, yes, show number is 103. And so to celebrate number 103, we always celebrate a Raider, or we celebrate something in terms of the Raiders, right?
Raider-esque.
Uncle Mosh, I'm going off the board tonight.
Nice. Come on.
I'm going way off the board. So if the number lines up with a player's jersey number, a lot of times we've gone with that. We've gone with years. We've gone with yardage distances.
Sure.
We've gone through a lot of different things in terms of the Raiders, not mostly, all pretty much on the field. Okay?
Right.
We're going with a Raider this week that's not an Oakland Raider.
Okay.
This week we're going with, it is Salute to Service. That's why I'm wearing the Salute to Service hat.
Absolutely.
First off, thank you for your service.
No problem.
As a veteran. And your dad.
Yep.
And my dad.
My dad, your dad.
And thank you to those of you. I know for sure Mojo Raider is currently in service, so thank you to him, and thank you to any else of you listening right now that protect and serve us. I'm thankful, and we are thankful that people like you exist, because it allows a couple of guys like us to get on here and do podcasts.
Absolutely.
And we have a lot of listeners on Armed Forces Radio. We know because we see the international reports, and we see the folks that are listening to us in the Philippines and in Italy, and we know many of those are our servicemen and women listening to us overseas. So not that there's not Italian Raider fans, but for the most part, those ones are coming up on service bases, which is amazing. It's amazing. So anyways, so that said, so the reason that I'm doing this is that we're going for number 103. We're going with Lieutenant Colonel Richard Cole, the last of the 80 Doolittle Raiders.
Nice.
The Doolittle Raiders. All right. This goes back to April 18th, 1942, when 16 B-12 bombers lined up on the USS Hornet and prepared to drop bombs onto Japan for the much-needed comeback following the attack on Pearl Harbor. All right. Leading the way for these 80 men was Lieutenant Colonel James Doolittle, and that gave them the title the Doolittle Raiders. At Doolittle's side was his co-pilot, then 26-year-old Richard Cole. The last living member of the famous Doolittle Raiders, Cole celebrated his 103rd birthday on September 7th. How cool is that?
Man, that is awesome. That's awesome.
It is really cool.
That is so cool.
So they had a big ceremony for him this last week, and a lot of the comments were like, he's such a humble man. They always recognize the other Raiders. He recognizes the other Raiders. He knows he's just one of 80, not one, and that's something that he's always carried with him. So we're on this day for episode number 103. Salute to service. Literally salute to 103-year-old Lieutenant Colonel Richard Cole, man.
Love it. Yeah. Love it. Good job. That's awesome.
Hey everybody, this is Johnny Spencer from the punk rock band Stringer, and you're listening to Raiders Fan Radio with Murf and Uncle Mosh. Go Raiders, baby.
A little known fact that Lieutenant Colonel Richard Cole's favorite punk rock group features Johnny Spencer.
That's right. He's a big Stringer fan. And appreciate Johnny Spencer. That was cool. So Uncle Mosh in the chat, a lot of talks about the draft. You're going to hear lots and lots from us on the draft as we get closer. Uncle Mosh and I are going to be live from the draft this year. For those of you that don't know, we are both originally from the Bay Area, from San Jose, California. That's why we're Raider fans. We have now since relocated to Middle Tennessee. We live a stone's throw from Nashville, and that's where the draft is going to be. So the timing of this for us is fantastic.
Yeah.
So you're going to hear more than you probably are going to want to know about the draft. Not today. I see you talking on there, and those are some great points about some of the players we can look at. And you betcha I got definitely a lot more eye on college football now than I typically do. I don't know. I always watch it, but I really am now like I'm looking for specific players. Like I'm looking for edge rushers, and I'm looking for linebackers, and I'm looking for whoever else. Like, maybe the Raiders could get that guy. So you're going to hear plenty about the draft from us as we go forward. So anyways, the big story this week, Mosh, the main story we're going to cover this week is the Mark Davis story. Now, Mark Davis gave an interview to Paul Gutierrez of ESPN.com, and we've taken plenty of shots at ESPN over the past year, really even longer than that. And with the sensationalism that kind of goes on with a lot of their reporting, a lot of the facts they conveniently leave out of a story, a lot of it seems to be just kind of rhetoric. It's very spinny. But this was not. This was dead on. Of course, and this is Gutierrez, who's been a longtime Raider beat writer, so he's a little more reputable than some of the like mainstream Skip Baylesses of the world or whatever. But anyway, so Paul wrote this fantastic article, and Uncle Mosh, I think that the gist of it that I got from this article is that, and you could find it, just Google Mark Davis and it'll pop up on the news, on your news feed. I think the gist of the article is that this was a time when Mark Davis, I felt, showed leadership more so than he ever has, more at a time when it was most critical that he do. And I think that I now, as a fan, like our owner more than I ever have. Now, he's not his dad, and he's not going to be. And so I think that once we get away from trying to kind of compare the era that Al came up in and the groundbreaking things, the barrier breaking that Al Davis did, the wonderful things that Al did on and off the field, Mark Davis is never going to have that ability. But I think to exemplify leadership, he took a big step this week, don't you think?
I think that Mark Davis is no longer the rebound girlfriend. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Mark Davis was in that role for the longest time. I mean, we picked on everything from his haircut to his members only coat. You know? I mean, seriously. And he was the owner, but he was that next girlfriend. He was that one that was, he's not going to be his dad, and he's not going to be this, and he's not going to be. You know what? Mark Davis is coming into his own, man, and he said something. First of all, the man is no idiot. Let's look at the bottom line. Let's look at how much our team is worth now compared to how much it was worth when he took over. Mark Davis is no idiot, y'all. Mark Davis is a smart man, and we have poked fun at him on this show. We have taken our shots at him. But you know what? respect to Mark Davis after this article, and I always there's a lot of things that false logic can make us believe that Mark Davis is stupid. You know what I mean? He was the butt of a lot of jokes.
Right.
But when you look at it, when you look at realistically the things that came out in this and the way he spoke about him and the way that they were written about, Mark Davis is on the right track. Mark Davis is not as stupid.
Absolutely. And so there's a lot of things in terms of leadership that he showed, again, exemplified on this. And we're not experts, Mosh. We're just a couple of guys that do a show about the Raiders on the internets. But we do have experience in this field of study. I'll say that in terms of leadership. You are a longtime coach yourself and leader in an organization. It's where a lot of my education has been in, an investment in time and study has been in leadership. And when you do what Mark did here, is that one of there's a crux of being a good leader, right? Of a few things that in terms of what that makes up and what that is. Number one, first and foremost, is you have to build up those around you. You have to enable the success of people that are around you to their own successes. That's your job. Your job is for them to attain whatever that defined success is, help them get to that point, and then in turn, their success will foster your own. But you do it with theirs in focus. You do it with theirs as the main interest. And you do that through a couple of different ways. So first off, they have to trust you, right? They have to trust that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. They have to trust that you're going to walk the talk, essentially, that you're willing to do anything that you would be asked them to do, that you would be willing to do it yourself. And you have to demonstrate that competency, that ability to be able to do those things. So there's a lot of question leading up to this, even this as recently as this article, about whether Mark Davis is capable of that. Now, there's something really important to remember here, Raider Nation. Mark Davis is not our leader. You know what I mean?
That's right.
He doesn't lead us. He leads the Raiders. So he's John Gruden's leader, Reggie McKenzie's leader, any of the coaches, any of the players, anybody that works in the office, anybody down to the ticket takers and the people that park cars or whatever. He leads them. So did he exemplify strong leadership in this moment for them based on this? The answer to that question is a resounding yes. So he starts off in this article, one of the key points that he makes is that he is directly responsible for Khalil Mack not being a Raider. This has nothing to do with John Gruden. Well, I would say nothing to do, but very little to do with John Gruden. The story was the easy story for a lot of people on the outside looking in, where John Gruden didn't want Khalil Mack. John Gruden ran him off. John Gruden made the call. No, that's wrong. Mark Davis is the one that started all of this. And in fact, if you want to be mad at anybody, be mad at him. And that's exactly what a good leader does, is that he puts himself in the way to protect his people. And in this case, he's protecting Gruden. So here in the article, it says, Davis said Oakland reached out to Mack's agent, Joel Siegel, after the team signed Derek Carr to his 5-year, $125 million contract in June of 2017 and presented him with a contract extension that would have made Mack the highest paid player in the NFL. Mack decided not to sign. Joel Siegel decided to stay away. And they are the ones that, after the Raiders and Mark Davis reached out to them in this case, they're the ones that stayed away. This has nothing to do with John Gruden.
Nope.
Nothing.
He goes on to say to blame John Gruden for Khalil Mack not being here is absolutely not the truth. It was a decision that was made, and it wasn't made easy. You know, and it's true. He doesn't blame Mack. He says he wishes him all the luck in the world. But what people don't realize is Mack didn't honor his 5-year contract. He didn't honor. He took the first swing. He's the one that held out. He's the one that didn't show. You know, and you can't put fault on the coach for that.
Yes.
You know, it's not. And that's
did you wasn't Khalil Mack to you? To me, it was that I looked at Derek as the leader of the offense. Mack was the leader of the defense. Collectively, they're the leaders of our team. They're both the best players at their respective positions.
Right.
when Carr signed his contract, and it was a team-friendly deal, even though it was expensive, and at the time made him the highest-paid quarterback and all that, but it was still very team-friendly, which is why he's tradable now, if you want to look at it that way. Did you expect Khalil Mack to do the same thing?
I expected him to honor his contract.
I mean, but didn't you kind of get the feeling like, okay, this guy's, he's just going to make his will be also another friendly contract, another. Right. You know what I mean? I just kind of expected him to not follow suit, because not that he was going to copy what Derek was going to do, but I just expected the negotiation structure to be very similar. I guess what I'm saying.
I'm with you.
But it didn't happen. So anyways, so much for that. All right, so he goes on later on in the interview. Speaking of Derek Carr, I thought Mark Davis also did an excellent job of taking the focus away from Derek and protecting Derek. And also let me go back to something else too. There was a comment in I don't know if it was Coward or one of those national guys, at the highest point of Gruden's criticism. He said, "Isn't it funny that no one's talking about Mark Davis right now?" He said, "No one is more thankful for the John Gruden criticism than Mark Davis, because no one was criticizing Davis. Heck, the Raiders don't even have a place to play next year, and no one was talking about Davis. Everybody was taking shots at Gruden, and then look at the next week. That's when this comes out. So I think this is definitely timely as well. I don't think this was like a state of the Raiders because it was midway through the year. I think this was definitely very calculated based on the amount of criticism coming at Gruden. So anyways, a lot of criticism at Gruden, a lot of criticism at Carr. And Mark Davis came out to protect his guy, and he says he's the franchise quarterback right now. And I want you to listen. This gets very specific. He doesn't have Cooper. He lost Bryant to a knee injury. Guys have been getting hurt. Who's he throwing to? Jordy Nelson and Seth Roberts? They're good guys, but they're not putting the fear of God in anybody. Hello. Here's another thing, Mosh. To be a good leader, you also have to hold people accountable. And there is nothing wrong with holding certain people accountable. There's nothing wrong with him holding Jordy Nelson accountable or Seth Roberts, and even goes on here to talk positively about Jared Cook. But there's something very critical about holding somebody accountable in terms of a team and in terms of an organization. Now, you can say, oh, it's not fair to take shots at him in the media. That's not what he's doing. What he's doing is that he's reinforcing the guys that are doing well, that are saying the right things, that are literally playing the game also on the team. Because if you got somebody that's getting paid a bunch of money and they're not pulling their weight, Bruce Irvin, then it reflects badly on the organization, because then the guys that are DeAndre Washington or whoever else, the guys that are grinding it out week in, week, Jared Cook, if you don't address the slackers, then the guys that really are trying to put forth everything, they get discouraged. So this is less him taking a shot at Jordy and Seth, and way more him trying to build up and encourage other guys in the locker room. Mosh, is that fair?
It is fair. And of course, and like he goes further to say that, yeah, he's got a lot of guys they're almost mercenary type. They're one and done, probably. They're there to help do their role, like the Jordys. But Jordy's past his prime. Jordy probably the first one to tell you that.
As soon as we saw him get chased down by linebackers in the Miami game, we're like, okay, he's lost his stuff.
But the guy can catch a ball. The guy can.
Sure.
He's not a slacker, but he's just not putting like he said, putting the fear of God in folks right now, like he did back in the day. So it's. I think you're right. I think that was more of a look. The rest of you have got to step up. The rest of you that have these potential, that are 25 years old, that are 26 years old, you got to do what you got to do, because these guys are out there busting their hump, but their humps are already broke, baby.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, so last up there, Mosh, you want to tell us a little bit about kind of about Reggie's future there? Do you see that? We talked and talked in terms of Gruden, talked in terms of Carr. Now, what about the general manager?
Well, Mark goes on to talk about Reggie's future a little bit, and he says that he and Reggie definitely need to sit down, talk it out, figure out where we're going with the future. We've got to look in the mirror and figure out where the hell did we go wrong in trying to build this thing. And he says, the very next line, we failed. I have failed, But at the same time, we wouldn't have been in the great position we're in without Reggie McKenzie here. So he's got faith in Reggie. But I don't think he sees Reggie as a long-term. I think he says he feels that Reggie is there right now for what we need. And I don't think Reggie's gone in the next year or two. I think Reggie's probably going to see Vegas.
Okay.
But I don't think he'll be there much after Vegas. I don't see him totally leaving the Raiders, but I think we'll see Reggie move to another capacity.
Yeah, that's interesting. I asked Phil Barber, the Santa Rosa Press Democrat. We had him on the show.
Name dropper.
And I'm sorry. Michael Jackson once told me, don't be a name dropper.
Yeah.
So,
Why Michael Jackson?
Because that was like the most famous person I could think of off the top of my head.
Geez.
Sinatra once told me, don't be a name dropper. Sinatra once told me, hey, babe, don't be a name dropper. I lost my train of thought.
I was talking about Reggie going to see Vegas, but he probably won't see much of Vegas.
So I asked Phil Barber about that. I said, does John need a numbers guy? If Reggie's not the personnel evaluator, the talent evaluator that we wished he could be, is there a role for him as the numbers guy? Because he's done an amazing job with the contracts. That was the premise of my question, was that when you look at the salary cap hell our team was in, that Al left us, God rest his soul, Al Davis left us in a freaking mess with the contracts that were out there. So when Reggie took over, he had to expunge all that stuff. He had to get rid of all those contracts. We had to eat crap for, 3 years or whatever it was. So I thought he did a very, very good job of that. And we're going to need somebody still to do that part of the negotiating, whatever. Gruden can make the call on the player, but it's up to Reggie to kind of get the back end of it done.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
So that was that. So anyways, I'm with you on that. All right, one more thing on Gruden. He had a lot of press conferences, obviously, since these last couple of games and when things have been going bad. And, I want to play this. It's just a few seconds long. But I really, as much fire as he's under and as much fire as everybody and the barbs and everything, maybe I'm just a big fat homer. Maybe, and if that's the case, if I'm just Raiders drunk and Gruden drunk, whatever, I'll own it. But I hear the passion in this guy's voice, and there's just something about him I trust, man. Maybe that's blind, and maybe I'm the idiot. I don't know, but listen for yourself.
This will be a year that a lot of us will never forget, and it's painful. It's really hard. It's painful. And, it's going to be hard to sleep again, hard to get up in the morning, but we're going to keep working hard, and this will be the foundation that this program leans on: mental toughness, physical toughness, doing everything you can in the eye of adversity. And I know it sounds corny to some people, but that's the grit and the toughness that this organization was built on, and that's what we're going to continue to strive for.
Laughing at Coach?
And now for something completely different.
Gosh, Mosh, that was harsh. Jeez. I was trying to give a heartfelt acknowledgement of Gruden, and you laughed at him.
Here's my thing. I'm tired of the negativity. I'm tired of it.
Oh my God!
I'm tired of it.
Okay.
This is not negativity with Mosh and Murf.
Okay. All right.
Each NFL team nominated one of its players for the Art Rooney Sportsmanship Award. They do that every year.
Yes, sir.
And what they do is they recognize players from around the league who exemplify outstanding sportsmanship on the field. Do you know who the Oakland Raiders nominated this year?
I'm pretty sure I do, but tell us.
It's Derek Carr.
Derek Carr.
I just, we were starting to go down that bashing road. And I know what Coach said just now that it really wasn't. He was saying the same things he said last week about, we're going to win through adversity and we're going to get through it. But you know what? Did you know that the Raiders' Maurice Hurst is tied for the most sacks among rookie interior defenders this season?
That's pretty cool.
He's got 3,
That's
and he's
pretty
tied
cool.
for third with 8 total QB pressures through Week 10.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Come on now. You know what I'm saying?
I see your positivity, Uncle Mosh.
Okay.
And I raise you.
Don't do it. Come on. All right, come on.
All right.
Come on.
Combined sacks, interceptions, forced fumbles, and fumble recoveries from the Raiders' entire linebacking group is what? How many? Give me a number. Give me a total number for the total group. Combined sacks, interceptions, forced fumbles, and fumble recoveries.
Well, it's got to be 1 through 10.
Or not. Or it's a 0.
Oh, is it really?
Now tell me again we don't need to draft a linebacker. Uh-huh. What else
All right,
you
I'll
got?
see your okay. I'll show you what I got. I'll see your negative comment, and I'll raise you this.
Okay.
Did you know that Raiders, of course, in the 70s, we loved being the most penalized team in the nation.
Yes.
Okay, but the Raiders have been penalized 63 times so far this year, and their opponents have been penalized 67 times.
No kidding.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
The only time in the past 30 seasons that the Raiders had fewer penalties in a season than their opposition was 1999 under which
Gruden.
coach?
How about
John
that?
Gruden. They had 98 and the opponents had 114. Come on with your
all
bad
right.
self.
Okay. All right. Challenge accepted, sir. Derek Carr is on pace to take 17 more sacks in 2018 than his previous single-season career high of 31. Now blame the quarterback. You can't throw it from your ass.
Wow.
The
Raiders in 2005.
We're having a positive-negative battle.
The Raiders in 2005 team had a note each week that franchise had a best winning percentage in pro football since Al Davis' arrival in 1963. They lost that spot in 2006 with the loss Sunday and a Ravens win over Cincinnati. The Raiders will fall to 9th on the list.
That's not good. You just gave us a good negative story.
I just gave you yours. Dang it!
I win. Can I get the
No,
applause?
I did.
Can I get the applause?
Hang on, here it comes.
Okay.
Here it comes. This is for Murf.
Okay. Oh, man.
I tried, Raider Nation.
Fellas, you tried.
I tried to come up. I tried. I interrupted Coach. I tried. I did the best I could.
That's unfortunate, Uncle Mosh, but right now the negativity is a little bit outweighing the positivity. Let's go to the Sea of Fans. It's always positive in there.
You know what? It's what? It's always positive in the Sea of Fans?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well.
There he is, fading, looking. He's under the gun. He's tied, he's thrown. It is.
Wow, Murf. You know, it's people that watch us sometimes they go, "What's all those papers?" Well, this is our script, and
somebody deviated from it.
And the fact that you wrote it, but you can't read it. Saddle up, little buckaroos. Raiders fans are for life. Other podcasts have taken the long dirt nap. But you've got Raiders Fan Radio. We're the wagon you've hitched your horses to. Mosey along with us as we ride out of the light and ride off into the dark side.
All right, let's take a second before we get into Sea of Fans and recognize the chat room. I can't scroll up, but I see Raider Homer, Sam Acosta, Ron, Chevy Raider, Aaron the Q-Dog Raider in there. Of course, our buddy Emiliano, Big Raider Trucker, Dirty, Adamisk, a lot of folks in there. Appreciate you all joining us here for Raiders Fan Radio. Uncle Mosh, let's get into the Sea of Fans mailbag. This is where you call us, 909-345-3346. You leave us a message. We play your message. If we play your message 3 times, you become a made man here on the show. We have a nice mix of regular callers have made men, and then a couple of new guys as well. And but before we get to that, Uncle Mosh has a message that came via Facebook, I think.
And this came from Kev, and he says, "It's cool, man. I'm used to working the late hours just to be a fan of the Raiders, but now it's even cooler to have the content you guys are putting out there." Well, he hasn't listened to this show yet. It's really special, man. It honestly has taken my fandom to a whole new level, and I'm sure that there are many other fans out there just like me that appreciate what you guys bring every week. It's awesome, bro. You can use these words on the show if you want, bro. That's what he said. You know what?
Awesome.
We're going to go ahead and use those
words.
Use those Thanks, words. Buddy.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Appreciate the show support. Absolutely. Thank you for checking in with us. One more little quick announcement before we get into the Sea of Fans here, Uncle Mosh, is that we started a new kind of award. It started last week. We are going to now award the best voicemail of the show. We're going to call it the Sizzler. And Raider Jeff from Dead Pirate Sports was kind enough last week to offer up a $25 gift card to deadpiratesports.com, who our buddy Aaron the Q-Dog Raider won that. Aaron, I haven't gotten you that code yet, but I promise I will. I hadn't got it back from Jeff yet, but he said it's going to be on the way this week. And so anyways, we're going to have a Sizzler. Nothing but pride on the line this time. We don't have anything to offer as far as prizes go, but we are definitely going to, Uncle Mosh is going to award his favorite call with the Sizzler, Mosh. Is that correct?
That's right. Oh, one more. So okay. Derek Carr said.
He's still on that. All right, first up, let's go hear from our buddy, Houston Raider Steve.
Hey, Murf and Mosh, this is Houston Raider Steve. I was going to tell you, I love the podcast and everything and video cast. When I heard that Bill Murray's, it just doesn't matter. I just wanted to put on some football pads, go buy some cleats, and go find one of those Raider helmets. Of course, it probably won't be one of those kid helmets and pants that you used to see at the superstores and everything. Man, I got so motivated. That was better than the Newt Rockney speech over there at Notre Dame. But I'm just going to say, I think what it is and everything is that, like Meg Ryan said in that movie with Tom Cruise, you had me at hello. What happened was with John Gruden and everything, he got hired and everything. I talked to one of the people inside, and it was like Elvis Presley or the Beatles were in the headquarters and everything, and everybody was so pumped up like we all were when we hired Coach Gruden. So maybe we had unrealistic high expectations and everything about our coach and everything, but because you know what it is that we're just super fans. You know, we wanted to, you know, take it to that next level. I was at that game in 2016 where they lost against the Texans in the playoff game. My friend Mike came down from Michigan. He's a super fan too. And anyway, we were just thinking about it and everything. But I just want to let you know that always be a Raider fan. It's funny when you go out to the mall or something, or you're kind of casually walking around, and you see somebody wearing a Raider hat, and you start talking about the Raiders, talking about the good old days and our prospects and what we're going to do this season. About 25 minutes later, his wife's looking at a watch, kind of looking around, and then she kind of nudges him. Oh, my girlfriend or their wife says, "Hey man, we got to go to the movies, man. We're running really late." So that's just what it is when you wear the colors. But great show, great podcast, and yeah, we have high expectations for Gruden. We're just going to hang in there. We know there's better days ahead. I've been fortunate enough to see the Raiders win 3 Super Bowls, of course. I've got a friend of mine, Oscar, who's a big fan of the Raiders. He's the president of the Houston H-Town Raider Booster Club. He was born in ’84, so he's never seen a Raiders win a Super Bowl. Your podcasts are great. You got me laughing. I like about keeping it to the lighter side because that's what keeps us going. And we'll all run as one, as they say, and we all got each other's backs. And I was out there for the game, Chargers game. Hardly recommend people go out there because, you know, the game is like the cherry on top of the sundae. Go out there and see everybody, see the families. That's what it's all about, is a nation and a family, because we are friends for life. As bad as it is this year and everything, we've got each other. It was tough to see us lose against Phillip Rivers. It's going to be a rough year for us. And, yeah, we're rebuilding. But we'll always be there for the team, be there for each other. You don't have to like the guy that signs the checks, but we got to support our team and Coach Gruden. God bless. And I'll give you a plug to Pillaging Podcast about you, Murf, and your show. Great guys over at the Pillaging. And Splatterhead and all those guys are great. Mikey's great with his show. Y'all are my brothers and sisters in Christ. We all love each other, man, because nobody can be critical of our team except us, right? I don't listen to national critics anymore. It's too depressing. Thanks for your shows, keeping us informed, laughs. Makes me feel like I'm not isolated out in East Texas. Talk to you soon. I'm out. And go Raider.
You know, there's not a lot to do in East Texas. and And I love Steve because Steve went from Bill Murray to Meg Ryan to Elvis to the Beatles to Mike in Michigan to Gruden to Oscar to Raider Nation, Phillip Rivers, Pillaging Podcast, Splatterhead and Fitz, Jesus Christ, and then he finished up with Mondays with Mikey and Murf. Come on, Steve. Bring it, baby. I love that guy.
Oh, my gosh, that's amazing.
How did he get all that in 3 minutes?
3 minutes and 9 seconds. Those were 2 voicemails. One of them we got cut off, so I spliced him in there to help him out.
Man.
That was awesome.
Steve. The only person Steve didn't mention, Michael Jackson, but you got him earlier.
I got him covered on that one. Oh,
and Oscar.
God.
I forgot Oscar.
Oh, yeah.
Oscar, the head of the Houston.
That's right. You forgot H-Town Raiders.
H-Town Raiders, and
Yeah.
that's there are. Is it Houston that's on our shirts?
No.
That we got from Q-Dog.
Q-Dog. That's Dallas-Fort Worth.
Dallas-Fort Worth,
San
okay.
Antonio.
But
You're
man,
mixing up your Texans there, Mosh.
I got thrown off when he said East Texas because there's nothing in East
There's
Texas.
nothing in East Texas.
Good call, Steve.
Great call,
Love
Steve.
you, man.
Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, absolutely. All right, that was good, Mosh. I love the rundown of the people that he named. That was fun.
I was writing as fast as
That
I
was
could. It was
fun.
like being in college all over again.
Oh my gosh, that's fun. All right, let's go.
4-year degree was 12 of the best years of my life.
You're killing me. All right, so we have our critics too, Mosh.
Oh, I know.
We'll get them occasionally, and I wouldn't necessarily call this guy a critic, but I will say this: he doesn't always run right in line with everything that we say just because we say it, and I love that about him.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
We're from California. We know how counterculture works. You don't
Absolutely.
have to accept it just because.
Are you talking about Jesse in Kentucky?
Yes, exactly.
Are you really?
I really am. Yeah. All right, so let's hear it from Jesse in Kentucky.
Hello, Murf Uncle Mosh. This is Jesse from Kentucky again. I just want to say congratulations on episode 102. I'm getting into that now. A lot of Gruden stuff going on there, and I got to say that I remember in February, whenever January, February, my friend Joe, he sends me a message and he says, Gruden's back. He says, are you excited? And I said, well. 16 years ago I was. Now, I don't really know. We have to give him some time. We know that the Raiders, they didn't have a lot of cap space this offseason, and when you implement new systems, you got to get players to, fill the needs and all that stuff. Now, I don't agree with getting rid of some of the good players that have been proven. I do agree with the Bruce Irvin thing. I think that dude checked out, in August. You know what I mean? I just don't think he was ever there. As far as on the defensive side, Paul Gunther, it's kind of funny, we use these ratings for everything, for our entertainment value, and his initials being PG, and he should change it to E because everybody is scoring on Raiders right now, man. I mean, this is ridiculous what is going on there in Oakland. I don't think it's all Gunther's fault, though. I think that McKenzie has dropped the ball whenever it comes to addressing inside linebacker, safety. Some can argue corner. That's why we got Conley, which is why when the rumors were swirling around him, I was just dumbfounded. I really didn't get it. But, I think everybody just needs to relax. I don't like the 10-year window thing. I really don't. I hate people using that analogy because I don't believe it's going to be 10 years. That's just me. I mean, I think that, he was making $6 million a year, got John Gruden at ESPN. So, people get into the numbers and they look at the contract and they say, but to me, I just look at that and I say, man, it was going to take a lot to get him off of ESPN. It really was. So, with that being said, we just have to, he's our coach, man. We're going to have to stand behind him. It doesn't mean we have to agree with every decision that he makes. I love the show. Thank you so much. Have a pleasant weekend. Go Raiders this weekend against the Chargers. But, I don't know. We'll see. All right. Bye.
All right, Jesse in Kentucky, man. Appreciate the call. As always, my friend. And, I love it that I like it when you guys don't always necessarily agree with us. That's not a bad thing at all. And so he doesn't like the idea of the 10-year contract. I do. I like the idea that Gruden has the ability to not be under pressure to win now, that there is a little bit of a wiggle room there to formulate, execute a plan over a long period of time, because everything now in the NFL is so win now, win immediately, and if you don't, then you're out and you're on to the next thing, and I think there's a lot to be said for consistency. So that said, the alternative to that, or the counter to that, is what his point, and even what RaidersSnakePit.com, our buddy Steve Corcoran, wrote an article this week about how the things that Gruden thrived under Al Davis's regime are now challenges to him under Mark Davis's regime, because under Al, the structure was in place. Al called the shots. Al built the team. Al built the coaching staff, all that stuff. All Gruden had to do was go in there and go worry about football. Well, now he's doing everything. He's literally doing just about everything other than some of the things that Mark Davis said that he wasn't directly responsible for. But for all intents and purposes, it's Gruden's call now. So because of that wiggle room, it's allowing for Gruden to then not be as laser focused as he would be on, say, the X's and O's. So I see both sides of the equation. All I know is this. I know what inconsistency has brought our team historically. So at this point, I'm willing to see what a 10-year contract looks like. Because, look, one playoff appearance in 15 years sucks. So let's see what a 10-year contract does. Maybe we'll get a different result.
I love it when Jesse from Kentucky calls, and he's not really he formulates his arguments in a way that I like it. I do take. I only had one little issue with what he said. He said Gruden was making $6 million a year at ESPN, and he's making $10 million a year now. I guarantee you he has a lot less time to spend that money now.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think it was the money that got. I mean, $6 million versus $10 million.
What are you not getting
when you're
when you
not?
have,
when you're that much money, most of us that are on the chat room or that listen to our podcast, we can't comprehend $6 million versus $10 million. I can't. No. I mean, we're not we're just Raiders fans, so I don't know that the money. I don't know that he came back for the money. I don't think this was a money thing.
Yeah,
I think this was a football thing. Yeah. So I don't know that we can.
I mean, I think it was going to be something. It had to be something significant.
The compensation package had to be there. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. But I think that's part of the problem that Gruden may have with some of these guys, like that name of that guy that's a Bear now that we don't say, holding out for those couple of $1 million more. Now, granted, they have a shorter earning period,
yes,
than he does, but still, $23 million versus $25 million.
Which is essentially what he sold us out for. What Mac left over total compensation package was $3 million a year difference.
I'm sorry, $23 million versus $26 million.
Yeah,
that's $23 in my pocket versus $26 in my pocket.
Yeah,
it's still only a case and a half of really cheap beer. You know what I'm saying?
How bad do you want to be a Raider?
Yeah. So I guess I don't know. When I hear that argument about coach, I don't think it flows. It's non sequitur for me.
Well, and I'm with you too. And the other area where that kind of loses me a little bit is that when I hear the rhetoric, and now I'm not saying Jesse said this, but when you hear the rhetoric from the fans that are like, oh, they pay John Gruden $10 million, but they can't pay Mac. It's different. When player salaries are structured and accounted for completely different than the coach's salary doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if John Gruden makes $10 or $10 million, but it doesn't make a hill of beans difference to us as far as impact to the team. It literally makes no difference. So I think it's a goofy argument when people float that out there. Again, not that that's what Jesse did, but the proverbial you, as I say on Mondays with Mikey and Murph. All right, let's go to next caller. Let's hear from our buddy Alex in Tucson, Arizona.
Hi, my name is Alex Sandoval, and I'm from Tucson, Arizona. And this is my hot take for today. So, I've been listening to a lot of the Coach Gruden Raider hate, and I think I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to think. I think that a lot of people don't take into consideration that this year has been really rough for him. I think that he had a lot of big decisions to make on his plate coming into this year. Who expected for Khalil Mack to leave? I don't think Gruden anticipated that. with a lot of other things like injuries that are really, really key, like our kicker early on in the season. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make is I think that we give Gruden a pass this year, and I think that we can start to judge Gruden a little bit better coming into next year, and hopefully we can win some more games. But until then, I'll remain faithful and go Raiders.
Great call, Alex. Appreciate you checking in on your commute there and giving us a shout here at Raiders Fan Radio. So something that he said there, Mosh, when it comes to performance of a sports team, right? Like the team, you get paid to win, right? So like it's a results-driven business. It's all about how much are you winning? How often, what have you accomplished? Like it's very results driven. So I don't give any passes nor extend any grace as far as their performance. There is no excusing 1-8. There is no excusing what our win-loss total is going to be by the end of this season. But something that's very interesting that he brought up is that, and I don't know why, it's probably because of my past fandom with this team and with John as our coach, but I feel like I give him grace, and I think that we as fans could use to be a little more gracious at times when, look, he's a human being, and he's had all these other things go on that he had no control over. He's not intentionally sabotaging. No one wants to win more than John Gruden, other than maybe Derek Carr and Mark David. Like, he wants it way more than we ever will. His entire legacy is on the line here. So shouldn't we be at least a smidge more gracious to give him a little, and again, not to excuse or to give a pass or to be like, oh, it doesn't matter. No, it does matter. And losing does suck. And I'm not excusing it, but just a little bit of like, all right, let's see how this thing works out before we freaking string him up by his toes. Huh, Mosh?
I agree. You can't bail on the guy. You just next call.
All right, let's hear from our friend, really new made man here on Raiders Fan Radio.
Absolutely,
and done a great job with his calls. And let's hear this week, Alberto in LA.
Hey, this is Alberto from LA, and today's game, there's not so much to talk about, honestly. I mean, defense put up a better fight than last week with the Niners. There was actually a rush defense for a little bit, and then as soon as I said, oh, look, the rush defense is actually good, the Raiders proved me wrong again. And boom, there's no rush defense. But anyway, I also want to mention those Randy Hanson tapes, those were a lot. And I really appreciate that, you put them out there, and those are a lot to take in. But anyway, I'm just looking forward to this next offseason. Because I've done my research, and there's a lot of big free agents that are gonna be available. Hopefully, maybe we can strike on Le'Veon Bell. Maybe we trade one of those first round picks to the Steelers and we get Le'Veon Bell. If the Raiders can hit on free agency next year and they can hit off the draft picks, which so far they have this past draft, Maurice Hurst is looking great. But we can make some noise next year. But season has nothing much to it. I mean, I think the Raiders can beat the Steelers because, if Terrell Pryor can run a 90-yard touchdown on them, and Bruce Gradkowski can go into Heinz Field and beat the Steelers, and then Darren McFadden just crush the Steelers. And I do believe Ben Roethlisberger has never won in Oakland, so we are playing the Steelers in Oakland. So yeah, the Raiders will be 2-14 this year, and we'll beat the Steelers, and I'm okay with that one. But anyway, Raiders till I die, and viva Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, he brought up the presence of the defensive run stopping capability. You brought up how well Mo Hurst is playing earlier. That's been something that's definitely been refreshing for the team, Uncle Mosh. And he's calling a win against the Steelers. I know because I know you. That if we're going to win one more between now and the end of the year, I'm guessing that's the one you want, right?
Yeah, no, and the fact that we'll probably watch that game with a friend of ours who's a Steeler fan who won't be a friend of ours at that day. Yeah, I just hate the Steelers. I just hate them. I hate them.
That's going to be, I'm glad you brought that up. It's going to be interesting because that guy is also a prominent country music musician. Can you be a music musician? He's a popular country music drummer.
The guy's a drummer, okay?
He's a drummer. He's played with all kinds of different people. He's played with Travis Tritt and Winona and who else? Boz Scaggs. And
I love to talk about drums with him. We talk about football. I want to punch him in his drum. I want to kick him right in his snare.
So anyway, we're going to have him on. So he's going to be the first time, and he's actually going to join us here in the fan cave. It's going to be the first time we've ever had somebody from a fan of another team, but because of he's a fun guy. We've known him for a while.
Great.
And he's a lot of fun, and so he'll be a great guest. And so we're going to talk about the history of the Raiders-Steelers rivalry, because Uncle Mosh, there's one team you hate in the NFL.
It's the Steelers.
You hate them more than the Broncos.
No,
even.
I do. I hate the Steelers more than the Broncos. I just, if it wasn't for Terry Bradshaw hooking up with Henry Winkler, I wouldn't say his name either. You hate him.
And when you look back, Raider Nation, when you look at the history of these two teams, and especially in the 70s when you were coming up, when you were forming your fandom.
The immaculate deception. I hate them all.
They beat our
all
tails
the time.
One time we got them, and oddly enough, we won the Super Bowl.
I know it. I know it. It's just.
So anyway, that'll be a fun show. So look forward.
I used to say horrible things about the Steelers.
Like that Pittsburgh is a frozen block of urine?
Oh, worse than that. Well, that's mild. I would talk about their genealogies and their just horrible things that I don't even want to repeat. I will.
You will.
And I'm going back and
looking. Week, you will.
I'm going back and looking at my records because I will pull those things out. When David's here, it's on. But
so are you going to pull out any Rocky Blyer half-a-foot jokes?
All of them. All of them. Jeez.
All right.
Oh, Lynn Swan.
All right, we'll save. All right,
Swanee.
All right, let's go hear from our buddy Monster Mash Ken.
Uncle Mosh, Murf. Hello, Murf. This is Monster Mash Ken. The Monday morning after the game. It sucks. You know what? It is what it is. I wasn't thinking we're going to beat them anyway. Of course, everybody wants to see just, quality product out in the field, and we just didn't see that. It's exciting to see some of the young guys like Mo Hurst and whatnot. So I just got done reading Mark Davis's press release with Gutierrez. First and foremost, I feel like the whole Raider Nation and team included, it's just been on this crazy roller coaster since 2014, 0-10 or something like that, and then Carr started putting it together, the team started coming together, then we had this great season in 2016. Then I went to that Washington Redskins game. I was at that game. We were 2-0. We went to Washington, and then this whole thing with Trump and the demonstrations with the kneeling and whatnot, and obviously it's kind of where this whole thing started. I kind of feel, and this might be a little bit of a hot take here, I love Marshawn Lynch. I think Marshawn Lynch is the man, but I kind of feel like he kind of led that charge, and he's so influential on all these players, and so many players, not just on our team, but in the league, look up to this guy. And if Derek Carr and some of those other players and Jack Del Rio were not on the same page as what Marshawn Lynch wanted to do, then it kind of just set the tone for everybody. And that's kind of with the tipping point of where we are from today. Then enter John Gruden. And John Gruden came back because he had these players and these marquee players in place. And I don't think he had any intention of trading them. But if you read the transcript, it looked like Mac had already made up his mind. We had to build this team. We had to make the right choices financially and for our future and for what product they're going to put down in Las Vegas. As soon as this season's over and maybe next season, that's it. The Oakland Raiders are no more. It's going to be the Las Vegas Raiders. It's going to be like an expansion team. It's going to be something new. And I hope Derek Carr is the quarterback. It's hard to judge him with this line that's out there. There's no receivers. All the guys that are on the team, minus Seth Roberts, are players that he's never played with before. He doesn't know them. And they're not impact players. They're just guys out there. The O-line's just in shambles. The running game it's all new. Everything is new. So everybody's pointing the finger at Derek Carr. I'm a jabroni and I got cut off. Okay, so no matter what happens, if they're in Vegas, I'm still going to be a fan. It might not be the same players that we're used to cheering for. And I know you guys have been a fan a lot longer than I have. Players come and go. Coaches come and go. I'm hoping that John Gruden can, if it's Carr or if it's another quarterback in the draft or free agent, but it's going to be solid and they're going to be together for a long time. Because if you look at his top 5 quarterbacks like Brady and Breeze and even Rivers, I hate him, and I hate saying his name. Sorry, Mosh. But it's the truth is that, it's the stability. He's got stability. They have stability players around them. Rodgers is the same thing with McCarthy. We just need that. It's what we're missing. It's what Carr's been missing. We haven't had that since, I don't even think we had it when Gannon was quarterback. Anyway, I digress. I'm hoping for the best this year. I don't even know what I'm hoping for. I'm going to support the team. I'm going to support you guys because you guys get us through these long weeks from Sunday to Sunday, and then through the winter, the summer, and all the crappy months of non-football. Keep up the good work. I'll be at the Baltimore game, and I'll be cheering, and I'll be repping with Flatterhead and Fitz out there, hardcore. Anyway, love you guys. God bless.
All right, appreciate the call, Monster Mash Ken. Great call as always from Made Men there, Ken. So. Mosh, a lot of things there. First off, appreciate the compliments. And
the apology is accepted for saying the name that shall
not
be
named. Yeah, for saying the name that shall not be named. I don't want to have any interest in a political discussion, so I don't want us to go there at all. But I do want to bring up something that he addressed there, and I think it's this part of it is fair. You have to have leaders on your team. You have to have leaders on both sides of the ball. And at the time, Derek Carr was kind of on his way to becoming, if he wasn't already the leader of the team. When Marshawn stepped in, he immediately became the alpha in the room, right? He has so much credibility. He has so much knowledge. Yep. Even Derek Carr, numerous times, we saw this year in this offseason, him appealing to Marshawn for input, appealing to Marshawn. So there was no mistaking that Marshawn became the leader. So my question is this: did that hamper Derek Carr's progress on or off the field? Was there anything, regardless of the reason, doesn't matter. That's why I don't want to get into what, whether the sitting down, all that, none of that matter. But just his presence and the fact that he is a leader, did that take away from Derek at all?
No, not at all.
Okay.
And I'll tell you the reason why. I'll tell you where the buck has to stop, and the buck has to stop with Del Rio. And that's your problem. That's your when as a coach, lifelong coach, and I direct plays as well. When you bring when you get a student that transfers in, I'm at the scholastic level, and you get a student that transfers in and they excel in one area or another, whether it be any of the sports I coached, whether it be on the track or in the wrestling room or on the football field or in a play that I'm directing, and you get a student that excels, that is put into a leadership position, you have to set that person up to be the leader. You have to let it be known that you trust their work ethic, their productivity, and that's why they are that alpha person, whether it's a male or a female or whatever. And that leadership, that comes from the top. These guys, Marshawn, Derek, whoever, they're not the shepherd. They're just the biggest sheep in the flock.
I got you.
And the shepherd was Jack Del Rio, and Jack Del Rio dropped the ball by not putting Marshawn in that leadership position and saying, either naming him captain or going to him or doing whatever, embracing that leadership role. And I think that's where the dysfunction in the locker room that everybody talked about. Sonny nailed that.
Sonny nailed that one.
He nailed that one from the get, and he harped on that all that season about. I remember this was the turning point. This was the turning point. This was the turning point, and that comes from those leaders, those coaches that didn't set that up the right way. That has to be done, and it's not an easy thing to do, but that's where it comes from.
That's a great point, Masha. Great point. Great analysis there of that. Of course, I 100% agree with you, and I think that's a unique insight there. And that, I think that that's the failings of the staff there, and that one came down to Del Rio. You can be Riverboat Jack, and you can make a lot of on the field decisions that lead to your team's success, but if you can't lead men, You're not going to be around very long. And that's where I think the big difference between somebody like him and somebody like Gruden. Gruden is a leader of men. And so you would certainly hope that we're going to produce a different result going forward. So we will certainly find out. All right, next up, let's go new caller, and we're going to hear from B-Dog.
Hey, Uncle Mosh, Murf. This is B-Dog calling from a pasture in Texas, all right? So I was just listening to you, Murf, and Mikey talking about how Reggie McKenzie just ain't cutting it. I mean, dude can't draft a safety, linebacker, or tackle, or pretty much anything to save his life. So what I have right here on the sticky notes are a couple of players that McKenzie has drafted, and I have the round they were picked in, and I have a couple of other players listed here of who else they could have drafted in that round or near that pick. So right here, I have 2016. I got Carl Joseph for the 14th pick in the first round. The Falcons drafted Keanu Neal, safety, with the 17th pick. He's a Pro Bowler. William Jackson III out of Houston, cornerback, drafted by Cincinnati, 24th pick. Artie Burns, cornerback, 25th pick in the draft, Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, all these players are, I'd say, better than Carl Joseph. I think we could agree on that. And then in the second round, I have Jayhad Ward, defensive end, pick 44. It's not with the team anymore. I've got Deion Jones, linebacker, Atlanta Falcons, 52nd pick, Pro Bowler. Got Kevin Byard, safety, Tennessee Titans. He's a 64th pick in that round.
MTSU represent.
Pro Bowler. Got Yannick Ngakoue. I mean, he's a defensive end. Still better than anyone on the team right now, other than Rodney Hudson. That dude's a legend. He's a Pro Bowler. Yannick Ngakoue. I got 2017, Gary Conley. Now, I know it's probably too early to give an analysis of Gary Conley, but I think Tre'Davious White, who was taken by the Buffalo Bills with the 27th pick cornerback, is better. Also, T.J. Watt, who's tearing up the league right now, linebacker, 30th pick, taken by Pittsburgh. There's a linebacker we could have drafted in that round. Could have drafted Reuben Foster. He's playing with the 49ers. We also could have gotten Ryan Ramczyk, who is a top 5 tackle in the league. New Orleans Saints. Looking at the second round, we drafted Obi Melifonwu. Not with the team anymore. Zach Cunningham was taken that round. Pick right after. I think he's a better linebacker.
And it cut him off. All right, so Google Voice gives you 3 minutes, so appreciate the call, B-Dog. When you call the Raiders Fan Radio hotline, best to get in and get out, and the quicker the better. So a couple things there. So Ron in the chat mentioned during his call, that's a dangerous game. When you start going and second-guessing drafts, you can do that literally with any team in every single draft. There's somebody they missed on. There's somebody that produced more. Now, where I will give a lot of credit to his call is that there are some moves that Reggie has made when there have been glaring needs for our team and numerous players at that position on the board, and he's not addressed it. So, and I think back to that Conley draft, and I think back to all the linebackers that were available. For him to leave somebody like Zach Cunningham on the board and, whoever else, I forget who it was like Foster, and there was Hassan Reddick was in there, and there was a bunch of players that were at inside linebacker available in that draft, and we just didn't do anybody, and we got Grant Conley. And granted, we needed a corner too, but I don't think it was as glaring as what we needed at middle linebacker. How many times did he draft safety? I get it. And aside from really Carr, Mack, and Gabe Jackson, where has Reggie really hit home runs in the draft? I don't know. And so I think that's where the fairness of the criticism lies. But you want to be careful with that, going back and just kind of calling out every single draft. Because, I mean, the draft is a freaking crapshoot, man. That's, at the end of the day, it's a dang crapshoot. Otherwise, Tom Brady doesn't get pulled in the 6th.
Right. And the thing about a draft is you're getting this clay, and it's how you mold it, and that's what we're gonna see. We're gonna see that in the future. In the next couple of drafts, we're gonna see what our coach can do.
That's a great one, Mosh. Absolutely, it has a lot. What the environment, the scheme, the everything that you put that player in.
Yep,
absolutely has a lot. That's why you see guys that kind of wash out with one team and then go on and have success somewhere else, right? So, all right, let's go to Made men. We're going to kind of hit the accelerator here because we're starting to run out of time. So let's go to our buddy Emiliano, Big Raider Trucker.
What's going on? The man, the myth, the Raider Trucker, checking in once again from Southern California, my friend. All right, I know we've been putting on a shit show on the field, and everybody's getting high and mighty and getting their panties in a bunch, and I keep hearing about the bickering about the tradings of Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper, and those two names shall no longer be named. So you know what? I'm just going to say this. Everyone wants to talk about the 12-4 year we had and how we were so close and what could have been. You know what? I was at the front of that parade because I was like, look at this. The foundation has finally been built, and we're here. You know what? That's a bunch of bullshit because you know what? The foundation was never built. You know what we needed? What foundation should have been built that wasn't was consistency. Because what happened the next year after? So everybody's saying how close we were, and look, we were turning the ship around. No, we weren't. We needed at least a good 2 to 3 years of that. Then we could say the foundation was laid properly. So you know what? I'm over that. All I'm going to say is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And you know what, John Gruden? This motherfucker's broke. So fix it and do what you got to do. Past 26 years in my life, I've been saying next year's our year. Next year's our year. You know what? I guess I'm going to have to say it again. Next year's our year. I'm still repping the silver and black. Always will. And let's just leave it at that. Also, Nation, just want to give you guys a heads up. Been talking to Mr. Raider Jeff on the phone. The shirts are coming. Look out for them. Keep that in tune. All right, also, I want to thank Raiders Fan Radio for hooking me up with Aaron the Q-Dog. And you know what? I want to say bless this show. You want to know why? Because I was able to sit there and have a texting conversation with Mr. Q-Dog all the way on the other side of the United States. And you know what? It's a beautiful thing from Rondo, Ohio to Murf in Middle Tennessee. You know what? We are a nation. We've been a nation. Hang in there. Great things are on the horizon. Raider out.
Awesome.
Wow.
Good call, huh? That's a good call. So Emiliano, so he referred to a few things there. So first off, he referred to the shirt. So let me show you his shirt. So we had our tagline contest, Uncle Mosh's tagline contest, where we gave away the hat that he's wearing. Let me show you. So there's this Carhartt hat. So we gave away the hat. In fact, I got one on the way going to Tom. Emiliano won the contest, but he's already had one of the hats. So I'm sending the hat to Tom. But so Emiliano won the tagline contest with what happens in Vegas.
It started in Oakland.
Started in Oakland. And so you can see the shirt here. So you want to describe it, Mosh, for the...
So it says Big Raider Trucker on it, and it's got the, on the other sleeve, it's got the Raider shield with the crossed sabers in the back, and then it says, what happened in Vegas started in Oakland, and it's his winning tagline. So we love these shirts.
Love these shirts. And so our buddy Raider Jeff at Dead Pirate Sports is hooked up with Emiliano, and Emiliano wanted to get these out there. And we talked a little bit about maybe doing them on our website or whatever, but Jeff is a T-shirt guy.
That's what he does.
That's
his
does.
Business.
And so he and Emiliano, we got him in touch with each other, and I think they're going to be available to buy on the Dead Pirate Sports website. Yeah. So go to deadpiratesports.com, put in RFR 10 at checkout, get 10% off of your order, and buy one of these cool shirts.
They'll be priced good.
I don't know what they'll cost, but they'll figure it out. And yes, these shirts they're awesome. And not only was it a great tagline, but it was a great design by Emiliano. So props to him for doing that. And great stuff there from Emiliano as always. All right, next up, Uncle Mosh, we're going to hear from our buddy Running Bear in Tulare, California.
Hello, this is Running Bear from Tulare, California. Uncle Mosh, hey Murf. Uncle Mosh, thanks for your service to our country, and all the other veterans out there, thank you for the same thing. I know it's a little late, but you know what? Still thank you. It should be thank you for every day for what you guys have done. As far as the Raiders go, I've been thinking about something. When did all this problem start occurring? And I think what it is from a leadership position. And I want to start with where it really probably is the most, and that's with Mark Davis. We started going downhill at the beginning of last season when all the political stuff was going around, when sides were being put up in our locker room, distractions were going on, and decisions were made actually before the season started who was brought in and why. Now, don't get me wrong, I think Marshall Lynch is a wonderful player. But with the makeup of the team we had, I think it was a horrible decision. It was a start of the divide in the locker room. with the political stuff going on, it made it worse. And normally, and it's like with other teams in the NFL, when that happened, did not hurt them as much because they had owners who would step in, or coaches who would step in and end it quickly. And pretty much from the beginning, he pretty much knew he wanted the team to be his way. He might have been hoping and thinking the team had plenty of players at the time to do well, but they were already poisoned fruit. So when he gets there and tries to change them to his way, they weren't having it. They weren't the right type of people for what he wants. So yes, you're going to lose people. And with the thing with Khalil Mack, that could have been just as much as Gruden not wanting him being there, as much as Khalil Mack wanting more money. Bottom line, we don't know, and we'll never know. As far as Amari Cooper goes, he just seemed to give up on this team. He didn't want to be here, and we got what we could out of him. And I think that was a good thing for us.
And the timer gets him. So a lot of these calls are less than 2 minutes, and that's because I go in there and edit you guys down a little bit, any of the gaps and things like that. So that was less than 3 minutes, as you could hear. But anyways, the timer did get him. Appreciate the call, Running Bear. And yeah, man, if we've hashed it once, we've rehashed it multiple times, and there was unrest in our football team last year, to put it nicely, and it all started there week 3. And I think at this point, though, here's the thing: is that, let's hash it one last time. Don't you feel like we're far enough away from that now? Like, I don't think this is going to be any more of a lingering issue. Now, could that have led to where we're at record-wise and being a contributing thing and all that? Yeah, I think so.
They're trying so hard to keep this thing alive. The media is that they had a picture of a 49er cheerleader who kneeled. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
I mean, it's like, come on, let it go.
But in terms of the Raiders themselves,
I'm talking about the Raiders themselves. It has been put to bed again and again and again. Be done with it.
Okay.
There's so many other things to talk about.
Amen. All right, let's go to.
Like Q-Dog. Let's talk about him.
There we go. Always a great call. Let's hear from Aaron, the Q-Dog Raider.
Greetings, Aaron, Q-Dog Raider, coming to you from the east side. Let me start my call off with a heartfelt apology to my man, Emiliano, the Big Raider Trucker. I mispronounced your name last week in my call, and you deserve better, Big Bruh. So let's go on and get into it. Greetings, Uncle Mosh, Sonny, Murf. There was apparently a meeting conducted by Gruden with his first-year players, the rookies for the silver and black, because they will be the foundation, whether we like it or not, moving forward after the Battle of the Bay. And basically he laid it out that they're going to get a lot more playing time. And who's to say, that Chucky's a guy that, is just typecast and just merely playing old and proven, veterans and retreads and has-beens. Look, he's got an eye to the future. We got to give Chucky a chance. He's taken a lot of hits, and by that token, I got to give it up to our bold-cut owner, Mr. Davis, as we're going to call him, because he's earned that name for stepping up and taking some of the arrows that are being lobbed Chucky's way. But let's talk more about these rookies, the foundation. I got to give a little partial credit up to, let me see. I don't know who wrote this article, but basically there was some hack that did a piece and he graded out the Raiders, and I tend to agree. But, he chronicled how much time that the rookies are playing now. Arden Key is getting 57.5% of the snaps. He's grading out as a B+. I concur. Colton Miller, 93.8% of the snaps. He gets a B. Brandon Parker, 86.7. He gets a C. Maurice Hurst, 61% of the snaps. He's grading out as a B+. P.J. Hall, he's a sleeper. He's getting a C+. I'll give him that much. Nick Nelson, of course, Johnny Townsend, Jason Kabenda, Daniel Carlson, all these guys, Marcel Aitman. I guess he'll get an incomplete because I'd like to see more of him. But this is where we're going to have to focus, man. Don't worry about the product on the field. This is go ahead and chalk this up to the future. But here's who we need to look for in free agency. We've been talking about a middle linebacker. The answer, C.J. Mosley, Alabama product from a first-round draft pick. He's only 26 years old, and he's playing for the Ravens. Target number 1. We need him. Break the bank. And please, Wild Raider, let's hit a little tailgating too much. I got to get it. All right, Rue.
All right. First off, I love the call on C.J. Mosley.
Yes.
Great call,
yes.
Q-Dog, as always. C.J. Mosley, I remember when he got drafted by the Ravens, I remember thinking, oh, man, he would be a great Raider.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And I know that we've had a bad experience with an Alabama middle linebacker, but they are so good. There are so many good linebackers that come out of Alabama that I'm totally down with that.
Everything that comes out of Alabama.
I know, right? Yeah, I know. I love the meme. Have you seen that one meme that's going around that said, and with the first pick in the NFL draft, the Oakland Raiders select the Alabama offense. You know, he's like, yes, just draft everybody from Alabama this year. Absolutely. But yeah, that's a great call, Q-Dog. Absolutely. Did you have something on that on Q-Dog?
No, Q-Dog just cracks me up, with stuff like calling Mark Davis, the bowl cut, and then he goes, some hack, I love this guy. I love him.
He's the best. All right, so because now we're doing requests on the tailgating too much.
Oh, that might just go to strictly a buy request.
Might be. So he dropped Wyoming Raider in there as a request. So we got to honor the request of a made man here, right?
Man.
Murf, Mosh, Wyoming Raider here. Well, preseason's over. New season's starting. Still got no Mac, but I don't know, the Mac still ain't there. Still ain't signed. What are you gonna do? I know I heard, maybe Gruden's talking about trading him off for a whole bunch of picks, and maybe that's how we build the future.
If we could have just only worked in bull gerbil.
I'll have to fit that. I'm gonna have to fit that one in there. I appreciate the good sportsmanship, Scott, who's Wyoming Raider. So on the front end, I hope you're okay with being in there. It was pretty funny. So great request there, Q-Dog, putting Wyoming Raider. All right, Uncle Mosh, we got one more, and then we are done. And then we're gonna see this thing through. So remember when we were gonna do a show for an hour?
Yeah. I got stuff to do. Let's go. We'll do a 55-minute show.
Yeah, that was 2 hours ago.
Yeah. Well, it was 55 minutes through our introduction.
Which, someone talks a lot. All right,
someone is on coffee restriction.
Hey, now.
Hey, guys. This is Raider Jack from Albany, Oregon. Just got done listening to the epilogue, and holy crap, the amount of dysfunction that frickin' Randy had to go through as a coach is absolutely insane. The thing that bothers me about this is, just talking about Tom Cable, and that guy is our offensive line coach. Again, it kind of makes you wonder what's going on behind the scenes now even. I mean, with the losing streak and, John Gruden being up there, is this kind of underhanded dysfunction happening now? And, I mean, the league might have changed, but, you guarantee that there's other ways to do it now. You can guarantee that something's going on back there that we don't know about and we're not going to know about. I'm sure this kind of thing happens throughout the league, and at the same time, there's other teams that can win and do, but what in the world? Man, Murf, I've been listening to it. I told you the other day I was listening to it when I talked to you, and I kept saying, oh, man, this is a great interview, this is a great interview. This interview blew my mind. There needs to be more stuff like this out there. Anyway, you guys have a great evening. I hope to catch the tail end of the broadcast if I can. I work kind of late and end up, not being able to hear you guys from work. But anyway, it's an unfortunate thing. Go Raiders. Let's go for, 2-8 this week, right?
All right. There we go. Appreciate the call from Raider Jack. And yeah, man, that's Scott Hanson. I call, it's funny. Last episode of Raiders Fan Radio, I called him Scott Hanson like 3 times. Speaking of misspeaking people's names, Q-Dog, Scott Hanson is the guy that's the host on NFL Network.
Oh, right.
Randy Hanson is our guy. So anyways, Randy Hanson, yeah, it's bananas. And the fact that Tom Cable continued on with his coaching career relatively unscathed. I asked Randy point blank, I said, do you resent the fact that Cable got to continue on and is still with the Raiders and you're not? And he said, no, he's pretty gracious about it. I was surprised. I figured he'd have a lot more venom in that. But, so I appreciated it. Again, it's just a flat out trip, man, listening to that guy and his stories. And I don't think that level of dysfunction exists, frankly, in anybody's front office. I mean, look, the Browns are about as dysfunctional as it can get nowadays, and we saw them on Hard Knocks this year, and despite their lack of success, they're not really dysfunctional like that. There's not the pettiness and the infighting and all that garbage that was going on during Al Davis's regime there at the very end. So I don't think any of that stuff is perpetuated, and I certainly don't think it's around anymore with John Gruden at the helm. So, but appreciate the shout out. Appreciate the call there. And Uncle Mosh, I believe that brings us to the end. You got a sizzler for us?
I got a sizzler.
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 Sizzler. Sizzler.
Sizzler.
Sizzler. So it was a pretty close race once again today as I checked the chart.
And you literally show your chart. Uncle Mosh has been keeping score in the Sea of Fans mailbag. I love that.
Yeah. So actually, Houston Steve jumped out to a commanding lead and was pretty. And then we had some folks that jumped in there and threatened a little bit, but he held it up until our seventh caller, Big Raider Trucker, popped up in there, and it was a true
sizzler.
Sizzler.
Sizzler. Sizzler.
Sizzler.
Sizzler. It was a sizzler in all of the sizzling essence that a sizzle could be. It was a true hot take.
It was
our sizzler of the week goes to Big Raider Trucker.
Good job, Emiliano. Great call. And I loved it when he said, and it's broke as an MRFer. That about killed me. That was fun. That was pretty dang funny. So great job on the call. Thank you to everybody that called us tonight, and keep them coming. 909-345-3346. It's the Sea of Fans mailbag. It is the focus of our show, especially during the season. And so more of you and less of us is a good thing. And so you can call us, leave us a message, and hear us talk about you in glorious HD.
That's right.
All right, Uncle Mosh. So this week we got the Cardinals. If we were going to win a game, it was going to be the Niners. If we were going to win a game, it was going to be the Chargers at home. If we were going to win a game, it's going to be the Cardinals this week. Rookie quarterback.
Where I'm flying to in the morning?
Where are you flying to in the morning?
Phoenix.
Are you really?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to give us one of those cool pictures of you giving
Absolutely.
the University of Phoenix Stadium the middle finger like we do?
Have to. Yeah, I gotta fly. I'm flying for a conference down there.
Are you really?
Yeah,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll be in Arizona.
So you'll be there. You're coming back Sunday though, so you'll miss the game. Wow. Yeah. Well, you're definitely going to represent proudly. I'm sure you got your Uncle Mosh shirt on there, and I'm sure you will wear that loud and proud while you're down there.
Loud and proud.
Absolutely. Good deal. Well, thank you to everybody that joined us tonight. Thank you to all of you that joined us live. Ron, Raider Homer, Aaron the Q-Dog, Silver and Black, Dirty, Bobby Wasabi. I can't scroll up to see everybody, but JC2 or JC24.
They were all here.
Silver and Black Crackers in there, all a bunch of people in there. I appreciate you guys checking us out. Appreciate you supporting Raiders Fan Radio. Hit the subscribe button, man. Help us out. Murf's Fan Cave. It's youtube.com/Murf's Fan Cave. MURFS. And you can find that everywhere. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on app on Android. And you can find us, of course, on the YouTubes. So please help us out by subscribing to us. And Mosh, that is all we got unless you got a tagline.
I do. Here on Raiders Fan Radio, we're related by red blood. The rest of Raider Nation is family by silver and black blood. What happens in Vegas started in Oakland.